It is the Coastal now, not the Colonial any longer, right? I have that correct, Coach?
I think you do. Who knows?
Joining us now in studio, he is the coach of the Towson Tigers. Our friend Pat Skerry is back in studio.
That sounds like a great new slogan for the league.
Yeah, right.
CAA basketball. Who knows?
Who knows? Not bad. Not bad.
It's great to be here, fellas.
It's
right?
always good to see you.
Who
Coach.
knows? Yeah. Who knows?
I've got. Speaking of who knows. Who knows when you're going to find out if Nenda Tart can play for you? That's what I want to know. When do you get that? Who do we got to call and figure out what's going on there?
Hey, I like having people that want to get this done for us. That's great. My athletic director, Steve Eigenbrot, and my assistant AD in charge of compliance, Terry Porter, are working on it. As you know, coaches don't get to talk to the NCAA, so our expectations are that we're going to get some positive news.
Which is weird because I assume you'd be so reasonable if you were talking to the NCAA. I just assume knowing you'd be very measured. You'd be very,
I would. I'd like to get them on the phone about Nenda and maybe the NIT.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
And their customer service. We could have a grand old time having a little bit of a chat. So yeah, we're hopeful on Nenda. Really good player, good kid, talented, good fit. So hopefully he's practicing with us. You know, he obviously wasn't with us in the summer. So he didn't take the trip, so he's kind of like the last guy in. But he's certainly a guy that will help us. I guess this is like a little bit of a national story right now in college basketball. So let's put in, let's make it hard for waivers, and I get it, but let's not be prepared that we're going to be an onslaught of potential waivers and be understaffed and big games the next weekend. Like people have meaningful games that'll impact their program later on, and we're waiting on kids. It's just head shaking that in the men's basketball, right? That covers 92% of the NCAA tournament.
You know when the season starts. You guys are aware of when the games are being played.
It's crazy. So guys like Nender and everyone else that's waiting, hopefully, people maybe could work past 4 or 5 o'clock in the name of student athletes.
Well, let's go ahead and take on another one of those NCAA issues, the NIT news from last week, which was one of those. It felt like a careful Friday news dump at like
2 o'clock,
3 o'clock in the afternoon, slipping one past the goalie. I haven't found anybody that has like said that's a good thing. To basically guarantee these at-large spot or these automatic berths for power conferences. Essentially, I know Dan Gavitt told a conference call yesterday. It was about,
I read that. Yeah,
holding off the Fox TV deal and all that. So there was a financial element to it. But what are your kind of thoughts as a coach that has taken a team to the NIT?
Well, I think the big thing is. Obviously coaches. I'm on the NABC Congress. Came out of left field. I question more. I don't like the decision, but I really disappointed in the leadership of the NCAA men's basketball in their customer service of not letting anyone know. I don't think that's really a proper way to lead. And I think I've known Dan Gavitt for a long time. That's just disappointing that would be the manner and that it was broken. I mean, the way it was, like you just said, the way it was broken leads you to believe this isn't going to be good. It's probably not good, but we're going to just do it and hope no one pays attention. Like that's just, so hopefully it is temporary what they alluded to, but there's certainly, I just know if you watch the top of our league last year, those teams are better than 14 and 17 Power 6 teams that we're going to play in the postseason.
And not just that, but those are teams that are going to be excited to go play an extra game. I mean, you've been around teams both good and bad over the years.
Sure.
That when you're a lot of teams that get to the end and they're 17 and 16 and they've just gone through being 6 and 12 in a power league. A lot of them are ready just to go home.
Yeah, let's go to spring break. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's I think guys like yourself kind of continuing to pump that message out that it's just not good and get eyes on it is helpful. So it's appreciated from guys in our boat.
All right, he is Pat Skerry. He said his piece. He said what he needed to say about this. Let me go back to Nenda for a second because whenever he plays, whenever he gets on the floor, how we have seen Patrick and I from having watched Coppin obviously. What is it that he brings to your team when he gets on the floor?
Well, one, he'll bring defense. He's got a Big East body, and he can move. And then what I've really been impressed with is his IQ. He's been well coached, between Juan Dixon and Bruce Kelly down at the Bullish School. So he just has a really good feel. And then every team is different. I think he gives us something that we kind of don't have with this group. We have a lot, but he gives us something that would blend in kind of an area that does. He does a lot of different things. He's like a rotisserie league guy.
One guy you do have back that everybody knows about is Charles Thompson, and I know it had to be hard to end up saying goodbye to a lot of that core group, but to have him back for another year, how great is that for you guys? And he's obviously a guy that has continued to get better. What's his next step?
Yeah, I will say he's had as good an off season as anyone we've had in my 12 years here. He's really changed his body. Not that it was bad before, and he's become much better with the ball and decision making. Pat, you're as big a stats guy as like we do a lot of analytical stuff, and other than Aaron Estrada, one of the services we subscribe to, he was the highest rated guy in the conference. So also because his value on the defensive side of the ball. So we were thrilled to get him back. There is no better ambassador for Towson University and athletics than Charlie Thompson. He's here for all the right reasons. He's a great leader. He gives us a chance every night out. So we're just appreciative that he's back.
Coach Pat Skerry from Towson is in studio with us. Unfortunately, you're not going to have Marcus Watson. And I don't know if this means like no more Canadian trips ever again in the future because it's cursed or something like that. But someone who I think I understood was someone there was a lot of expectation for. How do you go up trying to make up for that during the course of the season?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's awful what happened to Marcus. He had practiced with us like 4 times, and then we got him to Canada, and it was literally 4 minutes into the first game. So he's from a...
You don't start to think, like, are we cursed? You don't, like, have, like, a feeling like that goes through. Coach, can I ask you to squeeze that microphone a little bit higher, close to you? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I do a little bit. We've had a lot of injuries over the last couple of years in spite of having success. So hopefully we can get past that. Trust me on that. That's something I'm asking a lot about. But I will say for Marcus, he is way ahead of schedule. And obviously an unbelievable athlete and a worker.
Are you suggesting there's a chance that he could? This isn't like an Aaron
Rodgers. There is a chance.
There is a chance.
There is a chance. I wouldn't want to cap it. It's also hard to jump in, but I also will say it's not anything that we will use as an excuse. He hadn't practiced or played with us long enough for that to happen. It was a lot more challenging the last 2 years to lose good players in season when you don't have time to kind of prepare for that.
Christian May's a guy that played a fair bit for you as a freshman. I know there's some optimism that he could be a guy ready to take another step. I mean, what have you seen from him?
A lot. Mm-hmm. He's talented. He's, we've been fortunate to have some guys from year 1 to year 2 take big steps, especially perimeter players, and he's got the ability to do that. He's also committed on both ends of the floor. So we're expecting a big year from him, and quite honestly, for us to get where we believe we can get, he's going to need to do that.
Who else? Who else is ready to take as we talk about having Charles back? We also recognize you lost 2 of your top players from a year ago. Who else is ready to take that next step up to make a difference this season?
Well, Hicks will. He's healthy. He's changed his body. Williamson's really gifted. Dylan Williamson. He'll play a lot. He can score. I shouldn't have redshirted him last year. I did because Jason Gibson, when he got hurt, that wasn't a season-ending injury. We were told repeatedly that a couple more weeks. So in hindsight, it was my decision. It was a bad decision, but I know why I did it. But he's good. He's good. He's gifted. We haven't had a guy that crafty with the ball, maybe in my tenure. Chase Power, I'm proud of him. He's lost 25 pounds. He has been through every practice since the summer. He only played 5 games last year. Tyler Coleman's improved. He's a guy that's been in the program kind of waiting his turn. So we have a half dozen guys back that understand winning. And then we've added some some guys. Right off the bat, we've got two very good transfers that are men physically, Messiah Jones and Tamiwa Suleiman. I mean, these guys they've got bodies like the kid Moto we had a couple of years, not quite as big as that. So rebounders and a little bit better shooters than we thought. Good teammates. They fit in. And then we've got two freshmen that are going to play a lot right out the gate. Kid Tyler Tejada, who is he's about 222 pounds, a 6'9" guard. He's wired to score.
Did you say 222 pounds, 6'9" guard?
He is. He's getting committed defensively. He loves basketball. He's talented.
That sounds like a nightmare if that's the case.
He's talented. He led us in. He was second on our trip over up north behind Charlie in scoring. He's a good player. Gym rat, and then kid Makai Lowry, I think people are going to really like. He's he's still figuring out his game, but he's about 6'7". He's got a 7.5 reach. Very athletic, about 210. He's really plays incredibly hard. So those two guys, we're longer than we've been and maybe stronger. And I think as good as our team was last year, we were a little bit uncommitted at times defensively. I don't anticipate that being an issue with this group at all. I think it'll start with two things with our group. It'll start our defense, and then can we take care of the basketball so that we're not in transition defensively.
Looking at the league, last year was a kind of an odd season in that when you looked at the top 4 or so teams, it was a group that was fairly imposing. College of Charleston was a fabulous team. You had Wilmington, you had you guys, and all that. But then you also had a number of teams that really struggled, and some of that was a matter of teams coming into the league and not necessarily being ready for that. What do you expect that to improve a little bit, first off? And second, how does the league kind of have to do its best to help integrate some of those programs?
Yeah, good question. We seem to get all the teams twice that are good. That seemed to be the deal last year, and I hope it's different this year. But I know they sent us back to Charleston and Wilmington twice. I know our league told me there have been really good games for the league. I said, good games for who? I mean,
for TV,
we ain't chartering down there, and it's hostile environments. I said, I guess that's a backhanded compliment. I'm sure that in this day and age, right? We knew we were going to be good 2 years ago. We brought in guys that we knew were good, and guys were coming back. So maybe people didn't think we were going to be good. I'm sure there's going to be some teams that are, very good. I picked Charleston to win the league last year. I was the only coach that did that. I would say off the bat, I'm sure Northeastern is going to be better. He's a terrific coach, and it's just one of those things. I think every coach says when you get into your league, right, all the games get hard. It's hard to evaluate the non-conference. I would say what's probably disappointing with our league, there's probably 3 to 4 schools that are playing pretty tough schedules. There's some good teams that aren't playing good schedules. So for us, it's always been like, hey, how do we try to get ready for the conference? Now, you got to win, right? For me, it's a little different. When you lose like 55 games your first year, you don't worry about playing. You don't worry about playing tough non-conference schedules.
Just need to get some wins.
Well, on the subject of scheduling, you guys go to Charleston for the MTE down there. You go to South Dakota State, which technically neutral site, but not really. You play Bryant up at the Islanders Arena. Did you feel like you did a good job of maintaining a quality schedule while also obviously getting a few extra home games compared to
last year? I mean, last year, we couldn't get anyone home, and I probably overextended us. Although,
but some of that comes back to you thought you had Jason Gibson for all that time too.
He did. Started out pretty good when we had him. It's the Charleston deal. The field is obviously as strong as it's ever been down there. I didn't know that going in, but you could get into that once every 4 years. Our league sponsor. Really, the only guys that have been aggressive about playing in that has been Northeastern and ourselves. I just feel like for Towson and our university, anytime we can play on national television against those type of opponents, we got to take those opportunities. So that's why I would do it every year if we could.
Speaking of television, and I want to be careful because I know Flow Hoops is a partner of you guys, and heck, they might be hiring at some point. And so, hello, love Flow Hoops. But I also know that has been a source of frustration for a lot of CA basketball fans. You guys go and do a deal to get games on Monumental. this season. I know that doesn't matter in going to try to beat Colorado next week, but the significance of that for your program, that fans will have the opportunity to watch the games on TV, and what that means to the entire fan base.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. So two things. One, to help out our conference, in spite of sometimes maybe they think I don't, is I think Flow Sports has spent a lot of money to upgrade the paywalls and the accessibility when you're navigating that. Two is the deal we have with Flow Sports allows us to get games, use the money to get games on CBS Sports. We have the most games in the country that don't play 1A football on the national TV pass. So we've got like 24, 25 games on CBS Sports this year. So it makes sense. Everyone knows ESPN, but there's no guarantee they're going to put you on linear. They can just put you on all the computer stuff. Now, with the Monumental, boy, I'd fought for that for like 4 or 5 years because that's what some of the teams we've been compared to had.
Like Delaware and Drexel
Yeah.
have done that.
Well, no disrespect to Delaware and Drexel. We've been a lot better than Delaware and Drexel over the last decade. But like Charleston and Northeastern and Hofstra. Yeah. So I'm really appreciative of Mike Gathigan in our office and Steve Eigenbrot. Last year they were on NBC Sports Washington. Now it's on Monumental. It's huge. Throughout the COVID, the last 3 years, we've had a ton of TV opportunities. We've got a brand new president that just started who I think really understands the value of that, Mark Ginsburg. So it's exciting, right? We got a great university. We can get on TV in basketball. We continue to invest in it, and it showcases our university.
Seems like a win-win. Seems like it's a good thing for everybody involved. The season, as I mentioned, gets underway at Colorado on Monday night, and then the home opener against Robert Morris next Sunday, November 12th. If this is going to be the year that Towson breaks through to win the CAA, and I know how much heartbreak you've been through, and we joke about curses. What goes right this year for this to be the year?
Well, first thing, we got to stay healthy. And we just got to put ourselves in positions we've been in and hope for a little good fortune. There's no magic formula. This is a group that works hard and is connected and has a chance to be really deep. Last year was frustrating in some ways because we didn't finish the job. In other ways, I was proud of the guys because they adapted to some changing personnel situations during the year, and that wasn't ideal for some. That's not what they signed up for. So, my whole thing is like, look, are we going to be really hard to play against? That's what I want people to say when they watch our team play. I don't know if we're there yet on that. We're going to find out Monday in some of our early tests whether we're ready or not. I do think that'll eventually toughen our group up. But I like the group a lot. I can't say enough about them as far as the type of guys they are and how hard they work. And the leadership of Thompson and Hicks has been as good as we've ever had.
There you go. He is Coach Pat Skerry. Coach, it's so good to see you. Always appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. Anything else you want to get off your chest about the NCAA before we let you go?
You guys are the best. Yeah, feel free to email me, anyone at the pskerry@towson.edu. We can talk there.
I appreciate you, Coach. It's great to see you. Coach Pat Skerry from Towson.